At 34 years old, Ethan couldn't remember the last time he had a completely free weekend. His calendar was always full. Monday through Friday, work, Saturday morning, groceries, Saturday afternoon errands. Sunday became catch-up day, laundry, cleaning, emails, and preparing for Monday. From the outside, Ethan looked productive. His coworkers admired how reliable he was. His friends joked that he was impossible to book. His family assumed he was simply ambitious. Even Ethan believed it. Whenever he felt exhausted, he told himself the same thing. I'm just working hard. And to be fair, he was. Nothing about Ethan's life looked irresponsible. He paid his bills. He showed up to work. He kept his commitments. He wasn't wasting his time. At least, that's what he believed. One afternoon, while waiting for a delayed flight, Ethan noticed an older man sitting nearby reading a book. Eventually, they started talking. The conversation drifted toward work. Ethan proudly explained how busy life had become. The older man smiled politely, then asked a question Ethan had never considered. If you're this busy every week, when exactly does your life improve? Ethan laughed, then stopped, because he didn't have an answer. The conversation wasn't uncomfortable. The older man wasn't criticizing him. He wasn't telling Ethan to quit his job. He simply asked another question. Is all this activity actually moving you towards something, or is it only keeping you occupied? That question stayed with Ethan long after the flight landed. And that's what this video is really about. Because this isn't just Ethan's story anymore. It's about one of the most expensive misunderstandings in modern life. We confuse movement with progress. Now, before we go any further, let's be clear. This isn't a video about laziness. It's not about working fewer hours. It's not about escaping responsibility. Hard work matters. Responsibility matters. Discipline matters. What we're exploring is something much quieter. The difference between being busy and creating value. My name is James. I think a lot about how incentives, systems, and everyday structures quietly shape our decisions, especially in money, relationships, and life. If you're trying to live intentionally but keep feeling like the defaults are working against you, you might want to subscribe. That's what this channel's about. Let's start with a strange question. Why do so many hardworking people feel permanently behind? Most people assume the answer is income, not enough money. Sometimes that's true, but often, time is the scarcer resource. Money can be earned again. Lost time cannot. And yet modern systems compete for your time constantly. Meetings, notifications, emails, traffic, streaming, social media, administrative tasks, errands. None of them feel particularly significant on their own, but together, they quietly consume the hours that could have changed your future. Economists use a concept called opportunity cost. Every hour spent doing one thing is an hour unavailable for something else. That sounds obvious, but most people only apply opportunity cost to money, not time. Imagine two people who both finish work at 5 o'clock. One immediately falls into whatever demands attention first: television, notifications, random errands. The other spends just 1 hour learning a valuable skill, or building a side business, or exercising, or investing in relationships. Neither hour feels dramatic, but multiply that by 5 years. Now the difference becomes enormous. One extra hour a day becomes more than 1,800 hours over 5 years. That's the equivalent of nearly a full working year. The interesting part isn't the math. It's how invisible the loss feels. Nobody notices one wasted evening. Nobody notices 1 hour scrolling. Nobody notices one unnecessary meeting. Because small losses rarely feel expensive until they compound. Historically, this wasn't our biggest problem. For most of human history, survival required constant physical effort. Today, many people spend enormous amounts of mental effort managing digital noise instead. Our attention has become one of the world's most valuable resources. Companies compete for it. Apps compete for it. Advertising competes for it. Entire business models depend on keeping you engaged for just a little bit longer. Not because they're evil, because attention became profitable. Now you might be thinking, so should I become obsessed with productivity? No, that's another trap. Some people become so focused on optimizing every minute that they forget to enjoy life. That's not wisdom either. The goal isn't maximizing activity. The goal is maximizing intentionality. There's a difference. Here's where the hidden system appears. Busy people often receive immediate rewards. They look important. They feel needed. Their calendars stay full. People praise their work ethic. Meanwhile, quiet work often looks unimpressive. Reading, planning, thinking, learning, building, investing. Those activities rarely receive immediate recognition, but they often create the greatest long-term value. That's why busyness becomes addictive. It produces visible evidence that you're doing something. Progress often produces nothing visible for a very long time. Let's break it down. Busyness fills today. Intentional work improves tomorrow. Repeat busyness every day, and tomorrow never arrives. Repeat intentional work every day, and eventually your future begins looking very different. I use something I call the future hour framework. Every day, protect 1 hour that belongs only to your future, not your employer, not your inbox, and not your phone. Your future. Spend it learning, building, creating, investing, recovering, anything that makes next year better than this year. Guard it like an appointment, because eventually those hours begin compounding. That's exactly what Ethan started doing. He didn't quit his job. He didn't become obsessed with hustle. He simply stopped allowing every free hour to be claimed automatically. 1 hour became a habit. The habit became new skills, and the skills became new opportunities. And something interesting happened. His calendar didn't become emptier. It became more intentional. Maybe that's the lesson. Being busy isn't the problem. Being busy without moving towards something meaningful is. The world will always give you something to do. Very few things will build the future you actually want. Choose those things carefully. I'm curious, what's one activity taking your time every week without giving much back? Let me know in the comments. And if you're interested in understanding the hidden systems shaping money, work, relationships, and everyday life, consider subscribing. I'll see you in the next one.